All right, you guys, I wanted to give you a side-by-side comparison of my beloved Weider Ultimate Bodyworks machine that I still love. Don't think I'm kind of selling out and just thinking that I'm just throwing this thing off to the side. I still love this Weider Ultimate Bodyworks machine. I'm going to compare that with the newly purchased Total Gym Fit, which I also love. And I'm going to give you guys kind of this side-by-side comparison, a number of different things. I'll talk about how it feels, different pros and cons that they both have, because they both have pros and cons. Even though the Total Gym's more expensive, there's some minor cons compared to the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, which is much less expensive. And I checked, it is back in stock on Amazon for like $169, so pretty much lower price of entry to kind of get into versus a Total Gym. So I thought this video might help somebody out, whether you're considering purchasing one or the other, or again, you're just on the market for looking at some sort of new exercise equipment and you're just seeing what's out there. I just thought this might help some people as being just informative. I'll just say this right off the bat though, as I said, regardless whatever model you're going to get, there's no one perfect model of these sliding benches. Even among the Total Gyms, there's less expensive Total Gyms, there's more expensive ones. Each one has little unique characteristics that make one more or less beneficial. I'm just kind of going to show you guys a little comparison of some of the accessories that come with each model. There's the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks handles kind of matched up with each other. I did lose the original foam padding with my Weider Ultimate Bodyworks pull-up bar that was there. There's the squat rack, the squat stand comparison. Total Gym stock with the Fit doesn't necessarily come with that squat stand, so I'll put a link of another one down below, but that squat stand does make a huge difference between both models. You're going to see me just kind of unfolding both of these. I just wanted to give you guys an example of how fast it is to kind of set up the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks. In my opinion, this is definitely a pro for this particular machine. It's very kind of just easy to set up, very kind of rugged in its design. Beauty is in its simplicity here, guys, because you can do a lot with this very simple equipment and its simple mechanics and design, which I actually do appreciate and like about the machine. The Total Gym Fit, also very compact. If you guys look at them, I didn't reference it, but you guys probably obviously saw it. The Fit model, the Total Gym that I have right here, a little bit wider compared to the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, and that's noticeable when you sit on it. A little bit more padding. The actual frame it's on is actually shorter. I'm sorry, not the frame. The actual sled is shorter. The frame is longer, which gives this particular model definitely an added benefit. But I just wanted to show you guys kind of the unique differences in setting up the machine. A few more extra steps. It's not a huge deal, but it's enough to kind of set this up and put it away that it makes me not necessarily want to pack it up. I like just kind of leaving it set up, versus the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks was really easy to just fold up and collapse and break down. So there's kind of a side-by-side comparison. You can see that difference in length, but also in the sled board. One thing to notice as you guys are watching this, at least this first segment, you're going to see both machines are at their full max height right now. So you can see, as maybe you can tell, the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks has a little more of a steeper incline, and you definitely notice that as far as how it initially feels. Can't really see it from that side view, but you can see that incline's a little bit sharper in the top. Also be mindful of where that top of the pull-up bar is. You get a little more extra guidance since you don't have that tower in your way. But here's the actual initial numbers. Ignore those first two. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, really 7 adjustable notches. First two don't really matter. And then on the Total Gym, you have basically 12 different distinct levels, which gives it a benefit just on the various subtle options you can do with the height. But notice when you actually kind of compared both heights, I didn't measure it, maybe I should, but I think the visual is probably visual enough. They are pretty almost equal as far as in height wise. You guys will see it again in a second. The Weider Ultimate Bodyworks does come with these bungee cables, which even though I've had this machine since like 2010, that should say something too about the machine. They still hold up well. Here's a big difference in the Total Gym models. Not all of them, but most of them. You can detach this little cable, or this pulley down the middle. It flops around a bit, and in the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, you can't attach it, which is a pro and a con in some ways, because since you can't attach it, I don't have to necessarily worry about unattaching it for doing things like pull-ups or push-ups or inverted presses or doing some jump squats. It's not going to fly off like the other one it does. There was some wear and tear on that Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, so you could see from that screw rubbing against it, but otherwise it's fine. I'm showing you guys the distance and the pull-up bars. Just look again how much more you get, a little more of a range of motion and more play with this Weider Ultimate Bodyworks. I also love the grip with the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks as well. You can do the close grips and the different grips down below also feel pretty good, but pretty big substantial difference in just extra pull-up room you get, and you definitely notice that as well. The handle, the width that I just kind of referenced right there in the video, a little bit closer together and compact compared to the Total Gym, a little bit further away. For some exercises, that's better. Some exercises, not so good. I'll kind of mention that. But basically, for flies, it feels more comfortable. But for things like curls and things like that, I like that. Here's just showing you the ease of how you break it down. I just wanted to kind of show you, all you do is pull a pin with the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, and it collapses. With this model, you know, a little bit more intricate. Now I kind of wanted to show you the difference of me just kind of doing some pull-ups. You can see here, pretty very smooth. I'll mention just kind of how I initially felt when I was doing it. Noticeably difference in just how it feels and how smooth it is, just on the rollers itself. But maybe you guys can actually see and appreciate the difference in how high this incline is. These are both in the highest settings, but the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks gives you a lot more of an aggressive pull-up, which I like, and I do like the grips a little bit better on the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks. Here I want to show you with the sound up what the sound actually sounds like. So you can kind of hear how smooth the Total Gym is, and then in a second here you're going to hear the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, which honestly I don't remember ever creaking as much as it did or sounding as noisy as it ever did until I just did this as an experiment. I'll talk about that in a second. Here you're seeing the flies. Chest flies feel really good on a Total Gym. I think that's part of the reason is that it's just a little bit wider spacing. That wider spacing in the cables, I think, makes some things better. But some things, I like things kind of tighter. But I would say in general, flies feel really good. Feel a little more comfortable in the shoulders versus the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks. If I'm going to do flies, I really have to kind of lower it. And what you're actually showing me here, I actually start checking the cables. So I'm like, something just feels like, is something stuck? Because from jumping from that machine to this one, it really felt like there was something like hinging my movement, or it's constricting my movement a little bit. Here I wanted to show you a positive here. The Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, as long as I've had it, rarely comes off the track. And I'm just kind of showing you how it's the spacing in the machine is very tight and really closely packed together. So it rarely comes off the track. Conversely though, a con to the Total Gym, which I've already noticed in the few times I've had it, and that's probably because I'm just not used to this machine. I'm used to the other machine. You can see there's a lot more space here and a lot more play with the track. There's just a lot more space going on. So if I do some explosive things like popping up in the air or leg jumps, the track really easily likes to kind of come off sometimes. But that's just kind of being careful with the machine. And also notice how that middle pulley came off. I mean, I like that you can take the pulley off, but it kind of gets annoying. I wish you could kind of lock it in there, because if I do like jumping cables or whatever, the pulley does fly off. I kind of like the idea of being able to lock it in, but that's a side note. So in general, again, just showing you, again, the tightness between two machines and how the difference between that's actually a plus. But some things that kind of backtrack and kind of cover a little bit. With regards to how fluid the machine is, keep in mind that my Weider Ultimate Bodyworks is over 10 years old. So the cable itself has some little notches on it, which makes it a little more aggressive as you're kind of pulling on it. And I'd say, honestly, if you guys only were used to one machine, you probably wouldn't really notice it too much. So kind of keep that in mind. But I would say if you're older, you know, definitely the Total Gym is the way to go, especially these more expensive ones, because they're going to feel a little more smoother, and that smoothness kind of translates to and less tension on some troubled areas you guys might have. Here I just want to kind of show you just how, again, this is kind of a functionality thing, not a huge deal. I'm just showing you, if you were to do an exercise sequence, which I like to do on my channel, jumping around a lot from different exercises really quickly, I'm going to show you if I want to do a pull-up and then into a chest press, I have to, you know, first, you know, really quickly, you know, set these pull-up bars up, which isn't a huge deal. Take that middle cable on and off when I want to do this, but I did a pull-up, and now I'm going to go right into a chest press. And so not a big deal, but you can just see it took a few extra seconds to kind of transition. In retrospect, again, as I'm watching this, not a huge deal, but compare it to this, the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, I can go into a pull-up and then bam, just stand up and then go right into the chest press. Some people think, you know, the trade-off is better in the Total Gym because they don't like that clanging of the handles. But I also like this, how easy it is for me to transition from the pull-up bar and then insert the pull-up bar right into the inverted press if I want to do it that way. I thought next thing I'm going to show you guys is just kind of how the setup is for the inverted press and kind of how that looks like in the different angles. I don't know if I'll really do it justice here and kind of showing you what it feels like. There is kind of a subtle difference, and I'd again say for the pull-ups and as well for here with the inverted press, I kind of just like the way the pressing feels, the shoulder press feels in the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks compared to the Total Gym. I know this isn't the best angle, as it's kind of hyper and kind of zoomed in on here, but maybe you can kind of notice when I kind of jump on both machines, kind of where that tension is. The tension here, as you with the shoulder press where it is, it's definitely still a shoulder press, no question about it. It's just, I'd say, a little bit more you know, a little bit more in front of your body, or just working on a tiny bit of those, you know, pec major, pec minor muscles a little bit. This one kind of puts you a little bit more vertical, and the fact that your head can kind of cleanly come through the bottom. I'm also just showcasing how I like this. It has a narrow grip and narrow positioning, so I do a lot of kind of close grip stuff for my triceps in that machine, which I like a lot. Here I'm showing you guys pullovers. Again, feels very, very smooth on the Total Gym compared to the Weider Ultimate Body Works. Feels a little more stiffer. This especially is a big difference too. I can do rear flies, which I think is a really beneficial exercise. I said this many times in my channel that everybody should be doing rear flies, especially for sitting in chairs all day. That's not a big deal. I can really get that range of motion, but that tower's in my way, but it feels very comfortable. With Weider Ultimate Body Works, I kind of bottom out and I have to lean over in order to kind of accomplish that rear delt fly. So rear delt flies are definitely better on the Total Gym, even despite having that tower in your face. Here I'm showing you just how easy it is to kind of attach some extra resistance bands. You can attach it down to this bottom area. I didn't really showcase that in my last video where I did a video with bands, but you know, be that as it may, sometimes I don't necessarily like attaching them at the bottom. Sometimes I kind of like attaching them at the top, but you can do the same thing for the Weider Ultimate Body Works. I'm kind of showing you that here. They have the same kind of area where you can kind of loop down to the bottom here. A little bit more space though, I'd say, in the Total Gym than in the Weider Ultimate Body Works though. I'm showing you guys the prone squat here, just kind of how that looks. And I'm showing you guys how I kind of like to sometimes attach bands, which is kind of cross the frame, and I can't really do that on my Total Gym Fit because of the rounded shape. The next thing I'm going to show you guys, well, is some leg stuff. So there's kind of side by side by the squat rack, the squat stand comparisons. That's kind of a no-brainer. This definitely has a bigger squat stand. That's if you buy an upgrade for the bigger squat stand. A lot more play since the board's shorter. I have a lot more kind of freedom to kind of explode out of the exploding presses, and even these single leg presses with your legs. These feel really good. And then again, here's the prone version of this too. Having that bigger squat stand makes a huge difference. And then here's me, what I kind of normally have to get used to doing when I'm ever using the Weider Ultimate Body Works. Don't have as much play to kind of jump up in the air. And obviously my feet, if I have that smaller squat stand, have to kind of come off the pad if I want to keep the angles, you know, just about right. But I would say, you know, as I'm kind of wrapping up here, you guys are watching some differences that, even though there's you kind of can see what you're kind of paying for as far as the smoothness and the kind of fluid factor, but the Weider Ultimate Body Works has one, I'd say one big advantage. Here's something else you can't necessarily do. I'm interrupting here. You can do this this kind of reverse crunch. You can do this inverted row here. So even though the reverse crunch, you can do that on the Total Gym with the attachment, but you also can do that in the Weider Ultimate Body Works as well. That the upside down bridge, you guys can't do it that way. I will just say that, wrapping up, what I wanted to say was that the Weider Ultimate Body Works has more of a resistance, kind of like free weight feel, versus the Total Gym. It's nice and fluid, and that's a good thing, but you don't have as much kind of like resistance and tension on the muscle. That's kind of the thing to kind of wrap it up. So hopefully this is beneficial to you guys. I know I maybe talked too fast, kind of rambled over a lot of points. I just wanted to showcase some of the big kind of takeaways when you're comparing both machines. I love both machines. I think they are both adequate. I don't expect you guys to want to go out and just purchase two machines when you don't have to. That's totally up to you. But my main thing is, you know, choose whatever's in your budget. If you're someone who's older and you know you're going to work out at home and you want to invest in something that's a little more smoother and stable, or you're a bigger person, you know, go with the Total Gym Fit. If you're someone who's wondering, like, I don't know if I really like it or not, or am I really sacrificing a lot by buying a less expensive machine, I'd say don't worry about that too much, because the Weider Ultimate Body Works is still a quality, really good piece of machinery in the way it's designed and its simplicity, and the fact that it's only $170 with the free shipping. As far as how it stands now, it's back in stock on Amazon. To me, that's a steal in of itself. So if you know someone you want to buy for somebody else who might use it and maybe doesn't have access to a lot of funds to kind of buy something big like this, or just wants to kind of try it out, this is an easy investment. So hopefully that was beneficial. I could say a lot more about these things. I just want to kind of cut it as short and to the point as possible. I'm sorry if I ranted, though. Regardless, if you guys like this content, you guys want to see more of it, please like and subscribe. But thank you guys for watching.